And stats really don't get you into medical school. Our general recommendation is to try to get a 512 because that's the average. But we see huge variations in this, right? Sometimes people get very distracted by high stats. So this is why on forums and things, when everyone's saying, oh, someone, writes in, my student got accepted to medical school, and everyone writes in, oh, what are their stats? What are their stats? And stats really don't get you into medical school. So let's say a student has a 518 on the MCAT and a phenomenal score, and has a 3.98 GPA. You're going to look at that student and you're going to say, oh my gosh, of course this student is going to get accepted to medical school. What happens is that those stats get that student to be reviewed, but then everyone looks at the activities. They look at the letters of recommendation. They look at the personal statement. They see what the student has done. They try to understand the student's motivations, the student's values, the student's ideals, the student's trajectory. And if the experiences aren't as strong as those outstanding metrics, that student may not even get into medical school, or that student may then be in the situation where, because their MCAT and their GPA is so high, they could get screened out at schools where the average MCAT is, let's say, a 512 or a 513. So they might get screened out of those because their MCAT is so high, but then at the schools where, let's say, they meet the average MCAT of like a 518, their activities then may not be strong enough to actually move the needle to either get an interview or perhaps get accepted to that medical school. So this is why, just by looking at a student's list of experiences without really understanding the impact, without really understanding the motivations, without really understanding that student's background, where they're from, what has motivated them, what their challenges have been, what are their personal experiences, all of these things play into a student's overall success in the process.